So this one's kind of controversial. So this is from Al Jazeera. It's a YouTube video too. So it's like, is killing Arabs just a game to some? So this is like, so obviously Al Jazeera is I think they're from Qatar, yeah, they're from Qatar, right? Or Qatar, depending on how you like to pronounce it. They have a bias towards certain things, but if you're going to do a historical, let's watch the video first before I make my comments. It's a long video. We won't watch all of it. We'll just see a bit of it.
Hi, I'm Fallujah. Today on the stream, should real-life events be used in video games?
Sorry, let me just move my camera over to this side, and then.
How you react to that question will really influence how you watch today's show. We are going to be looking at a controversial video game that's based on a very controversial war. Take a look at 6 Days in Fallujah.
It was a well-prepared city, buttressed, waiting for us to come.
The only way you can clear a city is you have to search every house, you have to search every room, and you have to root out every insurgent.
A third of my retirement was filled with
It was the bunkers they would build inside houses. And you would go in the house and be all quiet. And then they would open up on you and shoot you through a hole in the wall.
kick down that door, and there's a sense of relief. You only feel it if you survive.
I remember watching this trailer on the show as well. I don't think this game's gonna be made, honestly. I think people are still kind of think it's a sensitive topic. Even when it was first announced back in, I think 2008, it was a sensitive topic back then because I think the Iraq War was still going on.
So that game, 6 Days in Fallujah, was originally due to be released in 2009.
2009.
Shut it down. It is
Might get shut down again.
being developed, but should it be? Your thoughts? YouTube awaits you. Jump into the comment section and you can talk to our guests. Let's say hello to the guests. Hello to Yassine, hello to Rami, hello to Rebecca. Yassine, tell everybody who you are, what you do. Welcome to the stream.
Thank you for having us. My name is Yassine. I'm commonly known as Narsi. I'm the founder of Iraqafella. We are the media based out of Montreal, Canada, and I am a proud Iraqi.
Good to have you. Rami, welcome to the stream. Tell everybody who you are, what you do.
Hi, I'm Rami Iswain. I'm a half Dutch, half Egyptian game developer. I'm also an industry ambassador who focuses on underrepresented viewpoints and marginalized people.
Nice to have you. Hello, Rebecca. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Valentine. I'm a video game journalist, a reporter currently working with IGN.
I've never heard of this person before.
Business journalism and how games get made.
Good to have you.
Oh.
Let's start this debate. It is a debate immediately. Yassine, you were watching that trailer and you were shaking your head. Why?
I mean, for the last 20 years of my life, but let's say for the last 30 years in the gaming industry, games about Iraq have come out and dehumanized the life and commodified Iraqi death. And this was just, the tip of the iceberg for me to be in the position that I'm in and to have access to social media. A group of friends of mine in the Iraqi community who are also creatives and gamers. I'm not in the gaming industry, I'm more in the music and film industry. We came together to start a petition against this game coming out. As you mentioned, it was canceled before for the similar reasons, and there are games that are based on the parody of reality, or games that are based on artificial cities. But this game itself is based on a true conflict that occurred.
Is this actual gameplay?
People died due to it.
This looks terrible.
Families were displaced due to it. As
Even
well
this game is gonna be.
with incredible levels of PTSD. So this is not a game. Our hashtag is Iraq is not a video game. This shouldn't exist, and it shouldn't be something that people play to trivialize a real life event.
So, okay, I know where this video is going. So my question to these people is, alright, so is it okay for a movie to be set in the Iraq War? Is it okay for that? We've had many movies set in the Iraq War. What was that movie, what was it called? The one with Jeremy Renner? I think it won an Oscar. Yeah, The Hurt Locker. That was set in the Iraq War. And obviously it won an Oscar too for best movie of that year. I think it was 2009 when it came out. There's been a lot of movies set in the Iraq War, and I think people, I think they, when they think about video games, they think it's just, I think the people who are against this kind of thing don't really play video games, in my opinion. And they don't know, like, video games, it's known that video games don't have there's a scientific study that says that there's no correlation between video games and aggression in life. They did like a 10-year study. They followed these kids from 10, like what I think it was 10 to 20, and they found out there was no correlation on aggressiveness for video games. And they found that out, man. Like, and there's no aggressive. It's just like some people just don't know that much about video games. They don't really follow it. They didn't grow up with it, or like they didn't have people around with them that were gamers, just like that. They just don't know that the community's pretty cool. It can be toxic sometimes, but most communities are toxic sometimes. But it's just another form of media or art that's showcasing an event that happened in the early 2000s. And I think that most people nowadays, I think it's just, they just see something that's really connected to them, really close to where they came from, and they just feel like they have to be offended. But if you look at the stats of the Iraq War and then that battle was one of the biggest battles of that war, and a lot of casualties were killed, the American casualties, and a lot of people on the Iraq side were killed as well. Why don't you want people to know the story about that battle against Saddam Hussein, against, like, you know, a dictator who, you know, like, why don't you want to know? Like, I would want to know about the history of that battle and what happened, right? I was really young when the Iraq War was going on, but I didn't really. Oh, I think it's called the Second Iraq War, because the Americans fought Iraq in the 90s as well. So there's the Second Iraq War, and I would love to know more about what happened. And, like, you know, I would love to know both sides. It would suck that they only show one side, the American side, but I hope they show more of each side, which is pretty cool. And it's just like, I don't know, I feel like people need to realize that there's like, being offended about something that happened in real life and, like, some real stories is just, there's more, you can put more effort into something, you know. You don't have to think about this. And obviously some Iraqis died, obviously a lot of Iraqis died, a lot of Americans died. It was war. That's what happens. If you make something about a game or a movie or music or any type of TV show about a specific historical event, there's going to be people that are going to get pissed off on it. Like, you know, if you think about it, World War II is the biggest example, because World War II was so long ago. A lot of the people who were in that war have already died out. I'm pretty sure a lot of them are still alive, but a huge majority of people have died. So it's easy to make those games anymore. Make games and movies about World War II. I'm assuming in the 1950s, it was very tough making a World War II movie or TV show, because it was so close to heart, right? But I think as more time passes, less people will give a shit. It's the unfortunate reality of life. People just forget about it, or they stop caring about it, and they deal with something else in their life or something. But I think eventually we'll get, I don't know if we'll get this game, but we'll get something about 6 Days in Fallujah, because I have a feeling it's getting a lot of hate again. Even 10 years after the initial release was going to happen, like even after 10 years after they cancel it, there's still a lot of hate for this game. And the game looks pretty ugly. Like, I'm looking at this footage. This game looks dog trash. Like, toxic imperialist.
What I think is really striking about this game, and I think the reason a lot of people see it as different.
I'll watch maybe 2 more minutes.
Everything Yassine said is true, right? So far, the games industry at large has had I don't want to call it respect, but the decency to at least create this fictional Arab country. And it's this mix of stereotypes, this mix of a dehumanization where they can't even set the games in the real countries. But in a way, when you're talking about something as traumatic and as devastating as war,
what I will say about, I don't know if you guys ever played Modern Warfare's storyline. There's a lot of, so they've created a new, I think it was a new country called Urzikstan. I forget the name of it, but they didn't only show the American side or the British side of the war. They had a rebel group inside of that country that was fighting the Russians, and they really showed you the characters in that side. So there's Farah and then her brother in that game too, and they did a really good job of showing both sides. They didn't make the most like the Arab people to be terrorists. You know, I feel like if they do a rendition like that where they show that there's good sides, there's good people on both sides, then I think it'll be better. But if it's just straight up about the American military going in, you know, killing people, a bunch of Arabs or something like that, then I think they'll get a lot of negativity. But if they could show both sides, like obviously it wasn't only the Americans that were fighting against Saddam. There was other, you know, rebel forces inside of Iraq that were also fighting alongside the Americans. You know, it wasn't just the Americans fighting. So I hope they show both sides to it.
We call it Arabistan, like in the industry, is actually sort of a boon because at least it's not, even though it's dehumanizing, even though it's offensive, it's not directly touching any real people.
It's funny, they always say Russia. Russia doesn't give a fuck. I think Russia should be more pissed off. Like, they're always the bad guys in every Call of Duty. If you think about it, the Russians are always the bad guys. And they're never complaining. They're never complaining about it. Again, it's priorities, right? The Russians are like, alright, cool, we're the bad guys. I don't give a shit. The Arabs, they're like, no! They get so offended. You know, it's just... You know, I mean, like... But I do hope they show both sides. That's for sure. Okay, I'm not gonna watch this whole video, but yeah, definitely check out the whole video. I'll probably watch it later on. But I didn't know it was gonna be this whole interview style session stuff. Thank you guys. This is just a small clip from my podcast, the Roundup, that I do every Thursday at 5 p.m. live on Twitch. I also post the full podcast the day after. So if you want to watch the full podcast, it would be really appreciative. And also, yeah, I stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on Twitch. Same name, Cole_Drake41. Instagram, same name. And Twitter, same name. And you guys have a amazing day. Oh, fucking down 2! I down both! Jesus. Yeah, I got them all three. Damn. Damn. And these Diamati's are actually pretty good.